and it'll be available on our websites for anyone as well following. So I've hit
okay. Everyone can hear me okay? Okay, thank you so much for having me, you guys. I'm just gonna try and share my screen with you now. I've got a little bit of a presentation for you, and then I'll show you exactly how the connector works. So, I don't know if I can host disabled participant screen sharing. Can someone enable me to do that?
You should be good to go, Kaylee. There you go.
There we go. Beautiful. Thank you. Okay. Alrighty. So I'm just going to get my presentation pulled up here. Bear with me. Okay. Everybody can see my first slide here. It says hi. Okay. Awesome. Thank you. Okay. So just wanted to give you a quick overview about myself and Volunteer Center of Calgary. I apologize if there's a bit of duplication from the little speech I made the other night. There shouldn't be too much, and I won't be going over in the same depth as I did the other night. But anyway, so I just wanted to introduce myself. So I live in Calgary now, but I'm originally from Kimberley, BC, a small town in the Kootenay region. And I love nature, but I also do love living in the city. So we like to spend time in Calgary and then go back to the Kootenays frequently. I'm working, proud mom to two small people, Sammy, who is 2 and a bit, and Selma Rose, who is 3 and a half. And they currently work with me right now, my home office. So if anyone busts through the door behind me, it's probably one of my children. So bear with me. And I have about, I've worked for Propellus for about 7 years now, and I really am very passionate about the volunteer sector, and I really am passionate about working with people and helping people that work in the sector with very limited resources and have complex problems, and help them find solutions to their needs. And a lot of times those solutions involve volunteers. So very excited about the work that I get to be a part of. Okay, so moving on from that. Just trying to move there we go. See if I can, there. Technical issues on my end. Okay, so the Volunteer Center, we've been around for 65 years. I mentioned this the other evening, and we really are the hub of volunteering. So our 2 main focus areas are connecting volunteers to organizations through meaningful engagements. That's really important to us. We really just want to, the Volunteer Connector is the only recruitment tool out there that is built off information shared with us from volunteers, and it's also the only system out there that was created by a volunteer center. So that was also very important to us, and that's also something that we're very proud of. The second area of focus for us is research on volunteerism across the province, and actually into other provinces now that we've kind of moved and expanded. And so what we're able to do is gather rich data that informs us on what volunteers want and how they want to be engaged. And then we share that information with our partners throughout the province. And then that information also informs our services so that we can make improvements to the Volunteer Connector to ensure that we're always meeting the needs of our amazing volunteers. Sorry, I'm just trying to figure out, I've got the Zoom thing here and going. Can everybody still see my presentation? Sorry about that. There we go. Okay. Skipping ahead now. Okay, so before I move on to the orientation of the Volunteer Connector, I just wanted to talk about this, and Tracy had mentioned it a little bit, just the importance of staying safe during the COVID-19 crisis. So whether you are a chapter and you're recruiting volunteers, or you're a volunteer looking to volunteer, the safety is the #1 priority. So making sure that if there is a position available, you can be doing that socially distancing, and the government has done a beautiful job of putting all of that messaging out there so you know exactly what to do. And if you are kind of uncertain about a position, just do not do it. It's not worth it. There's loads of positions out there that you can engage with later. And it's better for you to just kind of hold off and do it when you find something that works best for you. And then the other thing is, so if you can't do social distancing, you just feel comfortable, then look at virtual opportunities. So organizations are converting positions to virtual or breaking up in-person positions to small chunks that can be accomplished at home. And so that's really helpful for us. And so some of those traditional positions like board members, or if you've got a specific skill set, like say marketing or something like that, then you can do that virtually. And then also what we're seeing is more organizations converting to remote positions. So you'll go in, take the work that you need to from the location and then go do it at home. So that's more of like those making masks or quilts and that type of thing. And so those are kind of more the positions that we're seeing. And I think it's important to just remember here that communicate. So whether you're recruiting volunteers or you are a volunteer and you're talking to your volunteer manager, if you're not volunteering right now, but you have some ideas about how you could be volunteering, talk to them, because a lot of people are trying to figure out ways how to start recruiting volunteers again, and they don't necessarily know how. So if you have any tips or suggestions on how to do that, communicate with them. And also just if you have any concerns or you're feeling uncomfortable in your position, again, just make sure that that's articulated to the people that you're working with so that you can feel safe. So I just wanted to touch on that information. If you guys need the link to the government site, just let me know and I'll direct you to that. Okay, so diving more into the Volunteer Connector. So Volunteer Connector is a centralized volunteer recruitment website, and it acts as an online tool to support over 2,400 nonprofits and charities. We had over 1 million views of the site last year, and already we're well on our way for that. We've got 1.2 million views so far this year. So there's loads of people that go to the site to find volunteer opportunities. The website performs along some of the highest scored sites on Google, top 1,000 sites on all of Google, and top 10% in all of Canada. So it does really well. And the reason why that is because it has a very low bounce back rate. So people find what they're looking for within a matter of a click or two, and then they stay on the site. So it's very user-friendly and appealing to the user. As I mentioned before, the tool is constructed and tested by volunteers. As a volunteer center, it's very important to our team. We wanted to know how we could develop a tool that helps volunteers find opportunities that meet their needs so they stick around and support organizations for years to come. And again, there's no other platform that's centered around the volunteers, which makes us very, very proud. Sorry, just missed this. There we go. Skipped ahead of myself there. The other thing is that it has built-in best practices. So we've taken all of our experience from the last 65 years around screening, as well as some of our partners, Volunteer Alberta, their knowledge, Volunteer Canada's, and then we put that into the system so that when people are using it, they don't even need to think about that stuff. It just guides them through it, but then they can be assured that they're following best practices as well. And then partnership and collaboration are very key. So if you are, obviously this relationship with Rotary is very important to us. If you are a small chapter in a community that maybe doesn't have a volunteer center, but you want to help people connect more volunteer opportunities, connect with us. We're happy to partner in any way that we can. We know that that's key to our success. So it's very important. Okay, so I have nonprofits here, but what I'm really talking about is chapters and how the Volunteer Connector relates to chapters. So it's always free to use the volunteer recruitment tool, and you can recruit as many volunteers as you want. You'll be able to create a profile, and I'll show you how to do this, that kind of just helps to highlight the work that you're doing within the community. And then it also increases traffic to your website. Improved matching components for skills and categories. So people are going to find opportunities based on the skills that you've highlighted in your position and then be directed to you. So that just helps to reassure you that you're getting people that are actually interested in the position that you've posted. Barrier reduction. So we're helping you connect with volunteers faster. And we do this through the Apply Now button. So volunteers can see a position, determine whether or not they're interested in it, if they're interested in it, and then they can quickly click on the Apply Now button, share some information with you, and then connect with you. So it's very seamless and user-friendly for them to connect with you, which is really important to us because we know that volunteers want, in order to stay motivated, we know that they want to connect with you faster, and sometimes it takes organizations longer to accomplish that. So we're trying to remove any barriers that we can to help connect the two together. Cross-province recruitment, as well as many accounts as you want. So if there are multiple people within your chapter recruiting volunteers, you can have all of them listed in as administrators under the connector. They all have their own username, so you don't have to keep track of that information. And if they forget it, it's very easy to gather that information again. Okay. The other thing that's built into the system, and we're looking at charging for this maybe next year, is there's volunteer management software built into the system. We were hoping to start charging for it this year. It's $10 a month, and organizations can opt out of it if they're not using it. But then COVID hit, and we just thought, you know what, we don't want to be charging for anything right now. So you're able to access volunteer management software as well, and that means keeping track of volunteers, scheduling, reporting, all of that kind of stuff, and you can access that for free right now, and then eventually it might be $10 a month, but even that's a bit questionable. But if you're using, say, an Excel spreadsheet to manage your volunteers right now, I would highly recommend just checking out the software to see if it would support you. Okay, so this is kind of what the profile looks like. So as I mentioned before, you're going to see your logo listed there, the name of your organization, which cause categories you fit in, contact information, and then the impact that you have on the community. And then the volunteer can choose to follow your organization. So if, say, you don't have anything, your chapter's not doing anything right now to recruit volunteers, but you will be within the next couple of months, people can follow you, and then once you post that position, they'll be notified. And then you also have a dashboard when you first log into the site. So that tells you how many views you've received, how many applications, how many volunteers you're working with, scheduling, how many views you've had on a monthly basis, and then how many hours volunteers have contributed to your organization within that last month. So it's really handy information to have, and it helps to keep that it's all in one place for you to find easily. This is what your volunteer postings look like. So once you have multiple postings listed, you can see how long they've been on the site for, how many views they've had, and then how many applications they've received. It's very straightforward, and this is a great indicator to tell you whether or not you have a good posting, I guess, up on the sites. So for instance, if, say, it's been up for a long time, or a short time, and you've received lots of views but no applications, then that might be an indicator that you need to make some improvements to your posting to make it more appealing for the volunteer. And then this is what the posting looks like for the volunteer, so that all the activities are listed that will be involved, all of the screening requirements, language, whether or not it's flexible in schedule, information about the actual position itself, skills required, education or certification, and then the benefit to the volunteer and why they should be supporting that, that organization. And again, you'll see the follow button as well as the apply now button on the posting as well. And then once your chapter has posted something, you'll start to receive applications, and this is what the application kind of looks like. We're building on it. This is what it will eventually look like. Some of this information, like internal notes, isn't embedded yet, but that will be soon. So it's a short bio about the volunteer, their primary skills, secondary skills, and then contact information, etc. Recognition requirements here also will not, isn't there yet, but it will be soon. So it just gives you a better understanding of what the volunteer is, and then, or what, if the volunteer is a good fit, and then you can approve them. And then once they're approved, they move into your section of under volunteers, and then you can keep track of them along with all of their roles and everything associated to that position. And then this is your roles. So depending on the roles that you have, you're currently recruiting for, you just create one, and then you determine how many volunteers need to be working within that role, and then you can go to the scheduling feature, publish that role, and then volunteers will be notified, and then they can choose the positions that are available or that work best for them. This is a great feature for casinos. I don't know if Rotary has to do casinos, but I know for a lot of, you probably do casinos for other organizations that you support, and so this is a great feature for that. Okay, and so that's just a brief overview. I'll show you exactly what it looks like to log in as an organization. But first, I'm just going to talk briefly about volunteer and how it works for the volunteer. So again, always free for the volunteer. They also have a dashboard for tracking opportunities, hours, applications, and then improved features for direct volunteer organization connections. So as I mentioned, the Apply Now button, it's easy for them to connect, follow, that type of thing. And then again, if an organization is using the scheduling software, it allows the volunteer to select their shifts through the connector. So that's a great benefit to the volunteer. And this is what it looks like for the volunteer when they land on the page. So it was very important to us. I'll show you how to create a profile, but we also wanted to ensure that when you go to the volunteer connector, you are immediately given volunteer positions and opportunities, and then from there you're able to filter it down to exactly what you're looking for. But it was important that you saw those positions right away and you didn't have to dig for them. And then this is kind of what your dashboard will look like. So you can see, I'll just show you this. You've got your profile, some information about you. And then what happens is when you apply to a position, that information is automatically populated into the application. And then you can add any additional information in the application that is relevant to your position. But we're just trying to do anything that we can to help streamline the process for you as a volunteer and help you connect to an organization as fast as possible. And then once you've applied for positions, all your applications are stored under your on the application heading. Your searches are saved, the commitments that you've made in the past. So this is where you would pull your information and it would tell you how many hours you've contributed to the organizations throughout your community. And then you can see causes that you're interested in. All of those can be saved, organizations that you're interested in, etc. So it's all in one place. And it's very easy to use and easy for you to find. So that's just kind of a quick overview of it. And now what I would like to do is just show you what it looks like to actually sign in. Everybody's still good and you can see my screen? Okay, perfect. So this is the landing page, as I mentioned, to the Volunteer Connector. So what you would do, I'll just start as an organization. So you go to, if you're signing up your chapter, you're going to click on Organization and you're going to enter your email address. And so what I'll do here is I'll enter in my husband's email address so that, because I already have an account, but I just want to show you what it looks like. The page that you need to fill out looks like. It's very straightforward. Just bear with me. Persons.com. Hope I have the right email address there. So then once you have entered in your email address, you're going to be asked to fill out a bit of information here. So your organization's name, charitable registration number, or other proof of nonprofit. If you don't have that number, just you can put in Katie approves. We'll see that you are Rotary, so we're not worried about that. We know that we trust you all, so you can just put in Katie approves if you don't have that information. And then you're going to enter in your first name and your last name, and then your email, and then you'll need to look at the terms of service, agree to that, and then create your account. That's very, very straightforward. Once you've done that, so once that's done, you're going to receive an email, and then you'll be able to log into the site. And so I'll show you what you need to do once you log in. Just enter in my email address because I actually have that now. And then you need to enter in your email. Okay, so this is the landing page. Once you're actually logged in and you've filled out that first sheet, what you're going to see is the activity that is happening around volunteerism for your organization. So you can see we're not doing a lot of active recruitment right now, so our numbers are very, very low. But for those guys that would be, you would see numbers here for views, the amount of views that you're seeing in your postings, all of that information. But the first thing you're going to do is you're going to go to your profile and you're going to fill out this information. So you're going to enter information about your organization, impact that you have on your community. And then it kind of just gives you highlights along the side and tips on how you can, how to best do that. So it's very user friendly. And then there's a short description where this shows up on the landing page, where when a volunteer logs in and they're just looking at postings, this will be highlighted there. So there's two sections that I'll show you afterwards, but you'll be found either under the volunteer postings as well as the organizations. And then what you're going to do is upload a logo. So I don't know if you guys have a logo that is verified by your communications department. Usually what I do is I just use that snippet tool and snip it off of the website and then save it to my desktop, and then you can easily upload it. It's very, very straightforward. But if anyone needs help with that, just let me know and I'll help you, or I can even upload it for you. But it should be straightforward. And then you choose your cause category, any of your social media, and then also you can do a Canada Helps. I don't know if Rotary can, if you can do okay. But for any organization that you're supporting, they can do that so that volunteers can also donate to you if they're interested through Canada Helps. And then this is volunteering contact information. So it's okay to just have more of a general email here, because when you create your volunteer postings, you're going to know you can put in a different contact information there depending on who is the main contact person for that position. So usually for us, we just put in our general info email address as well as our general phone number. And then when it's specific positions, I would put in Katie Dodd and then my email address. And then you're going to add your address, and then that's it. So once you've created your profile, it shouldn't take more than a few minutes. You can copy and paste most of the information from your website. And then once that's done, it shows up here. I'll just show you one here. It will show up here. So you can just see here are the organizations, and then that would be the profile that you can see. So it looks really nice. And then once that is done, then you're able to start posting and recruiting volunteers for your chapters. So that's also really easy. So you can see this posting was up for 3 months and we received 400 views. You can either edit the posting or duplicate it if you want to just use the same position. or creating new is right there. And again, it's exactly like the profile. So you've got, it's very clearly laid out. They're going to give you tips along the side on what's best practice around volunteer recruitment and how you're going to have the best luck of recruiting volunteers. And so it's important to just kind of read these suggestions. And then it's just, you're looking at title, description. Your short description again is just going to be when people land on the first page of the Volunteer Connector, the first thing before they dig into the position where they're getting more of the information, the short description is the first thing that they see. And then you talk about the different activities that they're going to be using, or doing, sorry. Any additional details, why they should be volunteering for the position. I always suggest that you focus less on skills here unless it's very specific to a skill set. So of course, if you're recruiting a treasurer, you might need accounting, but definitely more focused on values versus skill set. And then you can talk about whether this is where you're going to determine whether or not it's good for online or virtual, remotely, if it's good for families and children, groups of people, youth, or public transit accessible. And then right now we have the COVID-19 support. So if it's related to COVID-19, you're able to click on that. And then that means you'll show up on this heading here, right here. It's just another area to make it easier for you to be found. So if you click on that, then you'll be found under the COVID opportunities. And then same thing goes for if you click on virtual in the posting, you'll be found under virtual opportunities. And then the date, all of that, it's very user-friendly, just specific to the position. So if it's a specific date, one time only, or ongoing position, it's going to guide you. Whether or not it's rigid in schedule or flexible, and then the day of the week. Again, the location. So this location does not need to be the same as your head office or the location of your chapter. If it's, say, you're organizing a charity run or something like that, that of course the starting point for that will be at a different location than your chapter. So you can change that information here. And then skills, credentials, all of that. And then these are all your screening requirements. So it's you'll be able to, and you can click multiple ones because we know that oftentimes there's multiple requirements that are in place for a position. And those show up, I'll just show you right here. So the volunteer knows exactly what the requirements are for that position before they apply for it. And then again, the contact information here. So whoever is creating the posting, their information will automatically be populated into the system, but you can change that. It does not need to be that. And then you can determine here whether or not you want the volunteer to be able to apply directly to you through the Volunteer Connector. If you click on it, then they will be. And then you have the option so you can keep it as a draft, or you can publish it right then in that moment, or you can schedule it for later. So it's very straightforward. And then again, this is what it looks like once the position is live on the site. So the other thing that you want to do when you log in and create your profile is go to administrators and just add whoever you want from your chapter to have access to the site. It's again, super straightforward. All you have to do is enter their email address in, first and last name. You don't even have to enter a job title unless you want to, and then you can create them. And then that just means that they can log in and create postings on the connector if they want. So it's very, very straightforward. That's kind of the overview of the organization or chapter side of things. Once you start receiving applications from volunteers, that's where you're going to start seeing, you'll see them under this heading, and then you can quickly approve or decline the volunteer. Yeah, And then once you approve the volunteer, they're moved into the volunteering section. And again, as I mentioned before, and then you just, it's very easy. The other thing I wanted to mention before I forget, actually, this is very important, because we know that not all volunteers that we work with are going to be finding us from the connector. So we might have a volunteer that's been with us for ages, but we still want to be able to track their hours. We can just enter in their information for them or on their behalf, as long as they've given us permission. Or you can upload up to 250 volunteers by using just the bulk CSV file. So it's very easy to upload your volunteers and keep track of them too if you want. And then there's your scheduling feature. Everything is very straightforward, and it looks the same on each under each section. So it's easy and user-friendly. And same thing goes for the roles. So it's all stored in one area. So that's the overview for the orientation, or for organizations and chapters. And now what I want to do is quickly just show you guys what it looks like for the volunteer. And again, this is very easy as well. So I'll just put in my, so what would happen is you just enter in your email address. You don't even have to fill out any information as a volunteer to create a profile. So first thing to remember is you do not need to have a profile in order to see volunteer postings. So if you are not comfortable with having a profile on the Volunteer Connector, we totally respect that, that's fine. You still can access and see volunteer positions. We just wanted to give you the option to create a profile to save time and be able to track your hours and follow organizations. But if you don't want to do that, this is how you find volunteer opportunities. You can tailor it down depending on what it is that you're interested in. So if you go to causes that you're interested in, and then you can click on the ones that you are most interested in, and then it will make the list smaller for you. And same thing with activities. So you can look at these activities and determine what it is that you're interested in. And then once you've done that, your list will get smaller. And same thing with the things with the sidebar here. The other thing that I want you to remember is, so when this is automatically 50 kilometers around where you are right now. So I'm in the T2T area code, so I'm getting postings that are 50 kilometers around me. If that is too large, or you want more of an window for that, you can easily change that to whatever works best for you. So especially if you're in a smaller community, you might not want to do 50 kilometers. I know for Okotoks, for instance, if they did 50 kilometers, they would be getting a lot of postings from Calgary. So depending on what you're interested in and which area you want, you can tailor that down. It's keyword searchable. If you're looking for COVID support, you can click on that. Or if you just want to find opportunities that you can access by applying online, you can do that. One-time commitment, short-term, long-term, whether or not it's working remotely. So this is a great thing for right now, especially if you're just comfortable only doing that, then just make sure you're clicking on that link, or up here for online opportunities. We have 2 spots for you for that. And then whatever else is important to you. So you can tailor it down based on all of those things. And then start looking at opportunities. And then if you do choose to have a profile, which I think is a great suggestion, this helps you keep track of all your postings. All you have to do is enter in your email address, and then you're going to receive an email that's going to ask you to create a password. And then once you've created a password, you can log in. I'm just going to sign in with my personal email for this one. And I'll show you what that looks like once you are logged in. Okay, so this is mine. And so it kind of shows you immediately you can see the causes that I'm following, and then organizations that I follow, any safe searches that I have. Those are positions that have come up in those areas. And then my profile. So once you log in, you can create a profile. It's very straightforward. All you have to do is go to edit once you're here. So I'll just show you once more. Edit profile. And then you're going to enter your first name and the city and province that you're in, postal code, phone number, which is optional. If you don't want to include that, you don't have to. And then some information about you. And that's specific to volunteerism. Once you apply to a position, you'll be able to include information that's even more specific, but this kind of helps. This information is automatically populated into your profile, and then you can add more specific information based on that position that you're applying for. And then, so once you've created that, and you can see too here, so like if you've got a schedule, if you've chosen shifts for a specific position, they'll all be stored here. Your past commitments are here. Any positions that you've worked for in the past, it's right here. And then this is, right now, this is how the volunteer can see the hours that they've contributed. It's just by clicking on that. We will be updating that very, very soon so that it's highlighted. It's faster. So right now, basically what happens is you have to print off this off and get it verified by the organization that you're working for. Very, very soon, the volunteer manager that's supporting you or the organizations that's supporting you will be able to just quickly approve those hours through the connector on the other end. So it'll make it much faster and seamless for you. And then, yeah, and then you can change the causes. So if you are interested in a specific cause, you just select that here, and then you're notified when any of those positions within that cause category are made live on the Volunteer Connector. And same thing goes here. So if you, again, see an opportunity and you want to follow them, you can just click on that, and then when any position from that organization comes up, then you will be notified, and then you can apply to that position. And then to here, it's very straightforward. So if you're interested, you can just apply to that position. As I mentioned, the information is automatically populated into the connector, and then any additional information you want to share with that organization, you can enter here. I want to apply for that one right now. Not willing to make that commitment right now. So that's basically it for the volunteer dashboard. It's super straightforward. And even if you don't have time to create the profile, which shouldn't take you more than a few minutes, but if you don't have to enter all of that information right away. We just want you to be able to look at volunteer opportunities and browse opportunities and start supporting organizations when you're ready. Yeah, so that's kind of it for me, Tracy.
Wonderful, Katie. Thank you. You've given us some tremendous information from both ends, from being an organization to a volunteer. I'm going to turn it over now to Alexis, who is from District 5370. And Alexis is going to just bring us through and talk to us a little bit about the importance of District 5360 and 5370 and the partnership we have here. So Alexis, I'm going to turn it over to you.
Great, thank you. Hi, everybody. I am lucky enough to be the District 5370 Community Services Chair. My home club is the Rotary Club of Edmonton, and it's great to see everyone. So this is a really wonderful option for our clubs, both as organizations and for our individual members. So my suggestion, if you're considering this service opportunity, would be to make sure that you identify a club champion. Somebody within your club that can help create the membership for your club as the organization, and then also kind of liaise with your members to support them to register individually as volunteers. And I'm a support person to your club champions within 5370, and I know my counterpart, Haider Hassan, is also in the same role in 5360. And I should actually take a second to thank Katie so very much. She has been a wonderful partner, a wonderful resource, and I've really valued learning about this platform with her. This is a great opportunity as you are considering future community service projects And it's also a wonderful way for your club to reach into communities and advertise the community service projects you are already planning. I'd like to share that, as always, some of our Rotaractors are ahead of the curve. So we have one Rotaract club that's already registered within Volunteer Connector. That's the Rotaract Club of Strathcona County. And their profile is great. They've used it really as an opportunity to share who they are, when they meet, if people are interested to join. And they've listed the kinds of volunteer opportunities that they offer people, which is planting trees, making dinners for the homeless, donating furniture, hosting fundraisers. They have a whole series of things. So they've really grabbed onto this platform as a good opportunity. I think it's also a helpful membership recruitment tool. That's what they're certainly doing. So I think this is another area of service for your clubs to consider, one that we're happy to support. And I noticed in the comments there are some really great questions. So Katie, if it's okay with you, I'm just going to raise a couple that have come up. The first one is, does this have a reference function for a job well done from an organization that was supported? Is there any feedback loop to this process?
So that's something that we're working on. So ideally, if a volunteer is supporting an organization and does a really great job, then that volunteer manager would be able to highlight that on their profile so that other volunteer managers would be able to see that, or organizations, they would be able to see that. So that is something that's in the works, but we don't have that yet. But ideally, that will be in place soon.
That's great, thank you. And another question that's popped up, is there an email alert when someone has applied to the opportunity?
Yes, great question. So once someone applies, you will receive an email to whichever email has been put into the posting. And then in order to see that application, you just click on the link in the email, and then you'll be directed right to the Connect and be able to see the application immediately. Yeah.
Great. So perhaps I will, oh, there's another great question. Do we see ourselves advertising under the nonprofit category? Individual clubs, or how would Rotary sign up there? I mean,
that's a great, sorry, you go ahead, Alexis.
I mean, my suggestion is yes, but Katie, I defer to you because you've seen how everyone has registered.
Yeah, I mean, I would say yes as well, but if you think that there's a category that would work better, let us know, and then we can look into adding that if there isn't a category that you feel like aligns perfectly to the work that you're doing.
Can I add to that? Rotary has a new idea for clubs out now, and Tracy was involved with this, and the development of clubs with a cause. So you can have a club that has chartered based on a certain area that they are interested in, like anti-racism or something like that.
Oh, okay.
And then they can maybe put it under a specific category, but it could still be under the general category of non-for-profit.
Yeah, that sounds perfect.
Katie, do you want to share the geotagging feature of this? Because I think it's important because we have members from a diverse geographical landscape, just for them to know that this platform can adapt.
Yeah, so basically what happens is your posting is going to show up to people that are within a 50-kilometer radius to the location that you've entered in the posting description. And then the volunteer has the control to change that radius. So it's really in the volunteer's hand, not necessarily the organization's, if that makes sense. We really wanted to empower the volunteer to ensure that they were getting the postings that were most relevant for them. And so whether or not you fall within the radius that is selected for that volunteer will determine whether or not they see your posting. Does that make sense? Okay.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay.
And I see we have another question. Is there a category for service clubs?
I don't think, God, I have to look into that, but yeah, I don't think so, but that might be a great suggestion. If you think that that's something that we could add, then I think it's pretty easy for us to do that. Yeah. Take note of that.
Thank you, Katie.
Yes, thank you so much. Christine, I'll pass it to you, and then we'll sign off.
what I've learned about this program so far is it can be a great club fellowship piece to get your members more involved. The conversation can keep going about what they have seen on Volunteer Connector, what are our club's opportunities to give more in service that aren't going to be too heavy on the labor side, where some members are getting to that point where physically they can't maintain that level of activity. Opportunities to connect with other organizations and become friends and partners. We've seen a lot of partnerships happening right now between not only our districts, but as well other organizations, and this is one of them. And then internationally, Rotary International is really building on partnerships right now. And you know, we're stronger together. We've learned a lot in this COVID crisis, and I think this is going to be a great tool for clubs. I can see my club setting up, Rotary Club of Calgary East, setting it up as an organization, and then getting all our members to register as volunteers who, for whatever capacity they can within our club. So they get to pick and choose what they're interested in within the club's registration. So yeah, we don't have a charitable status. I just noticed that from Mary. But clubs do have a business, they are registered with corporate registry. Katie, would that be something they could use instead?
Yeah, sure. You can use that if it's easily accessible. If not, just type in Katie approves or katie.approves, and then you'll be able to bypass that because we'll see that you're a Rotary chapter. So
yeah, so what a great team builder this can be. And again, attract membership. You're going to volunteering for other organizations. Volunteers are coming in to volunteer for your projects. And then they get to see the great things that Rotary does, and you know, everybody's happy. So that's the vision. So thank you very much, Katie. This was a great presentation today. I don't know if anybody else has anything more to for questions, but please reach out to us, Alexis in 5370 and Hyder in 5360. If you want some help to set up, if you have questions or concerns, they're here to help you with that. So, and I thank you, all of them. We're all one big team here. So thank you so much.
thank you so much for having me, you guys. Great to see everyone.
Thank you so much, Katie. And again, Alexis too as well. Thank you for all your hard work and Hyder. This is an amazing project, and we're really excited to partner with both of our districts together. As we know, we're going to continue to have more asks come upon us as we venture through COVID. We'll go into recovery, rebuilding. And so this is an opportunity for us to have a great platform to leverage and to pivot from to help to support our communities. This is recorded. There's a request from Dan if this was recorded. It was recorded, and the first session is already posted on the District 5370 website, and this one will be posted there too as well under the COVID area. And Christine, you can grab that and link to it from your district as well.
Yeah, so we'll take it into our district website as well.
Awesome, perfect. So thank you, everyone. We appreciate you. We appreciate your leadership. We appreciate the time you've taken to be with us tonight. We know the importance of Rotary. You know, we hear consistently the importance of Rotary, but now it's even more important. And our communities are trusting us to do more. And as we step forward through COVID, I thank you. Thank you for your leadership in doing so. And Katie, we thank you for your leadership in helping us to do more. As you can see, we've got amazing volunteers that are ready and pivoting to do as much as they can to support communities. As we go forward, please don't hesitate to reach out to both of our districts. Reach out to Katie at Volunteer Connector. They're available, answer questions, and help to guide you through the steps. As we saw tonight, it was an easy process, and Katie, you did an amazing job of showing us. So look forward to seeing all the calls you're going to get. And
thank you so much.
People joining as well. So thanks, everyone. I wish you a wonderful evening. Stay well, and thank you for your leadership in Rotary. We're honored to partner and walk side by side with you. All the best.
Thank you, everyone. Stay safe.
Okay. Bye-bye.
Bye.